Okay, when I asked people to give me some recommendations of movies they wanted to see me review from the Halloween Horror-athon, someone, of course, did Behind the Mask: The Rise of Leslie Vernon. Now, those of you who've never seen this movie, this is probably one of the smartest, more indie-style horror movies I have ever seen. Part comedy, part documentary, part slasher flick. Pretty much in that order. It's a story about a character called Leslie Vernon, who's trying to follow in the footsteps of like a Jason, of like a Michael Myers. So he's trying to take what he's learned from them from watching horror movies and make himself into the next quote-unquote supernatural serial killer. Now this movie is ridiculously smart. They show scenes where he's doing like cardio. And so you gotta do cardio because everyone wants to run. Little smart snippets like that. A scene where he's chasing them in the documentary. He's like, here's what I want you to do. I'm gonna chase you while I'm walking. And as she goes taking off running, he's chasing at full speed, and then she turns to look around, he's walking. Little snippets like that that are just done beautifully well. He goes to talk to his mentor, and she's interviewing the mentor, and he talks about ways to come back from being, shot, stabbed, decapitated, with a really great explanation for it. And then when Robert Englund shows up, yes, Robert Englund is in this movie. If you watch him behind the scenes, he flat out says, this was a really smart script that had to be a part of this. He takes on the part of the Ahab. Ahab, of course, being a reference to Moby Dick. And that's the idea of that for every major serial killer, there's always that one person who's constantly tracking them down and constantly trying to be their foil. So as the documentary is being filmed, he's giving the background on, the virgin girl who's going to survive his onslaught. So he's going through all the little kind of cliche things that you see done in horror movies, but he's giving the background as to why you do it. Like I said, really smart. Really, really smart. The person who wrote this probably should have worked with Wes Craven to do, like, the last Scream movie. Because this is done in that, kind of tongue-in-cheek way of looking at all the cliches, but doing it in a way that makes you kind of go, that's actually really smart. This is actually making really beautiful sense. And then towards the very end, he walks him through everything that he's doing so he can, perform essentially his serial killing. Taking things like the sledgehammer and the axe, and well, I drilled this one to the wall so they can't get to it. Well, the sledgehammer, I cut the half of it so when the hitmans are going to break on impact, so I don't want them, to really, really hurt me while I'm doing this. He puts on this sort of salve, and he's like, the salve, it's a flame retardant, so they set on fire, I'm not going to, burn to death. So it's done in a really, really smart way. And of course, for the ending credits, they use the song Psycho Killer, which just beautifully bookends this movie. So if you're in the mood for a movie that is a very smart, horror comedy, a documentary, or actually mockumentary, and then ends with like a straight by-the-numbers slasher. And the nice thing about it is they almost do the kind of like the Penn and Teller way of doing a slasher flick, where Penn and Teller in their magician acts would show you exactly what they're going to do, and then they would do people to still be amazed. He actually walks them through exactly what he's going to do before he does it, and then as he's going through the motions of doing it, it still kind of catches you by surprise, even though you were entirely told step by step what he was going to do. And it's got a little bit of a twist ending to it, which actually works really well with this. So if you haven't seen it, by all means, this is a rent. If you like it, you can own this and probably watch it a couple times a year, because most people probably haven't seen this movie, and those who have, almost everybody loves it. And that is Behind the Mask: The Rise of Leslie Vernon.